There's a quiet little moment many of us have in the morning, when the world is still, the coffee's brewing, and maybe a little sunlight spills across the kitchen floor. We stand there thinking about what the day will hold. Not in a rush, not with urgency, just a soft, simple wondering, what do I need today to make things a little easier? Maybe it's less about keeping up with the world, and more about making sure we feel supported in it. And isn't that the real trick of aging well? Not about doing everything we did at 30, but about discovering better ways to do what matters now, on our terms. A little help here, a small change there. That's where today's chat comes in. Let me ask you something gently. Have you ever struggled with something small, like trying to plug something into the wall, only to realize the outlet is too low and your back just isn't having it? Or maybe fumbled around trying to turn on a tiny switch in dim lighting. These aren't huge life or death situations, but they do chip away at our energy and joy little by little. And we don't always talk about them, do we? We just make do. But what if there were clever little tools, simple, thoughtful, senior-friendly gadgets, that could take those daily annoyances and smooth them out like a wrinkle in a shirt? That's what I want to share with you today. Not gimmicks or techie toys. Just 6 genuinely helpful gadgets that can make your everyday routine easier, safer, and more comfortable. Things that feel like they were designed by someone who truly understands what it's like to live life with a bit more wisdom and a few more aches. After all, we've spent a lifetime solving problems for other people. It's about time something solved a few for us, right? Let's start with something as basic and as powerful as light. Think about how many times you've gotten up in the night to use the bathroom or get a drink of water. Your home is familiar, of course, but in the dark, familiarity can still trip you up. Literally. It only takes one stumble to change everything. And no one wants to deal with a fall at any age, let alone when bones take longer to heal and balance doesn't bounce back quite like it used to. So imagine this. As your feet touch the floor, a soft, warm light gently glows beneath your bed, guiding your steps. Not blinding, not harsh, just enough to show you the way. That's exactly what motion-activated night lights do. They're small, inexpensive, and you can tuck them under your bed, along your hallway, or even inside your bathroom. No need to fumble for a switch or squint into bright overhead lights. It's a simple solution, but it can make a world of difference, especially during those sleepy, disoriented moments at night. I recently helped my friend Margaret install a few in her home. She's 73, lives alone, and has always been a fiercely independent woman. But she told me one afternoon, "I hate how I feel nervous just walking to the bathroom at night. It makes me feel old." That hit me. Because it wasn't about the bathroom, it was about her sense of confidence in her own space. The night lights didn't just light her path, they gave her peace of mind. And honestly, that's worth more than gold. Now, speaking of confidence in your own space, let's talk about something that might seem even simpler but plays a surprising role in daily comfort. Opening jars. Yes, jars. Bottles. Anything with a tight twist-top lid. You'd think these companies are sealing them with super glue. I don't know about you, but I've had my fair share of wrestling matches with pickle jars, only to end up asking a neighbor for help or giving up entirely. Here's where a jar opener gadget steps in, and I mean one of the good ones, not some flimsy rubber grip that still makes your wrist scream. I'm talking about an under-cabinet jar opener. It mounts right beneath your cabinet, completely out of sight, and works like a charm. Just wedge the jar in, twist, and pop. It's open. No stress on your hands, no twisting or squeezing. It's like having a little helper tucked away, always ready. My Uncle Joe, who's 82 and still makes his famous tomato sauce every Sunday, swears by his. He called me laughing one day saying, "For the first time in years, I opened a jar without yelling at it first." That's the beauty of it. It's not just about opening the jar, it's about holding on to the parts of life we love. Cooking, being independent, doing things ourselves without always having to ask someone younger to step in. And that really is the thread that connects all of these little tools. Freedom. The freedom to move, to cook, to live safely and confidently in your own home. And here's the thing. There's nothing weak or shameful about using a gadget to make something easier. We use tools our whole lives, don't we? A cane is a tool. So is a garden spade. So is a smartphone. These gadgets aren't about giving in to aging. They're about honoring the life you've built and continuing to live it well. If anything in this video reminds you of someone you care about, a friend, a sibling, maybe even a neighbor, feel free to share it with them. Sometimes a tiny suggestion can make a huge difference in someone's day. And if it sparked an idea for your own home, maybe give that little thumbs up below a tap. It helps others find this kind of thoughtful content, and it lets me know we're on the right path together. There's something powerful about taking small steps that have a big impact. And that's exactly what these gadgets do. They aren't just handy, they're quietly revolutionary in the way they support our independence, our safety, and our dignity. But here's what I find the most beautiful in all of this. When we embrace tools that lighten the load, we free ourselves up to enjoy more of what really matters. Whether it's tending to your plants without worrying about tripping over a hose, reading your favorite mystery novel without straining your eyes, or cooking your famous Sunday roast without fighting a stubborn bottle, these are the little victories that make daily life feel full again. And if there's one thing I hope you take from this, it's that you deserve ease. Not just the absence of struggle, but the presence of ease. You've earned it. So let's keep going. Let's keep talking about ways to bring more of that ease into your days. Because we've only just begun. So where were we? Yes, that beautiful idea, ease. Doesn't that word just feel good to say out loud? It's like a gentle exhale or the soft warmth of your favorite sweater. And yet, so often we settle for struggle when life could be smoother with just a few thoughtful adjustments. We already talked about the soft glow of motion-activated night lights and the quiet genius of an under-cabinet jar opener. Two small things, sure, but both designed with love and wisdom, for hands that have held generations, for feet that have walked through decades. Let's keep that spirit going, shall we? Let me take you into the bathroom for a moment. I know, not the most glamorous room in the house, but certainly one of the most important when it comes to safety and comfort. Now, I want you to imagine this. It's early morning or maybe just before bed. You step into the shower, water running warm over your shoulders, and everything feels lovely, until it's time to grab the shampoo bottle, or steady yourself while reaching for the towel. That's the moment. A slip, a wobble, a grab for the curtain rod that's not meant to hold any real weight. And just like that, what should be a relaxing moment becomes a dangerous one. It doesn't take much. And I know many of you watching have either experienced that or had a close call. So here's a gadget I absolutely love and recommend to just about everyone over 60. A shower seat with non-slip feet and adjustable height. Now before you say, "Oh no, I don't need that, I'm still strong," let me gently stop you there. This isn't about weakness. It's about rest. It's about creating space where your body can relax while still doing what it needs to do. Taking a seat in the shower doesn't make you less capable. It makes you wise. My friend Doris, who's 68 and still teaches part-time at the community college, recently told me she started using one. "I didn't realize how much tension I was holding in my legs every time I showered," she said. "Now I can sit and just enjoy the water, even shave my legs again without feeling like I'm about to topple over." Isn't that something? And here's a lovely bonus. Many of these shower seats come with small shelves or compartments for your shampoo, soap, or sponge. Everything is within arm's reach. No stretching, no balancing, just you and your moment of peace. It's small details like this that change how we experience everyday life. And if you're someone who's ever thought, "I don't want my home to feel like a hospital," I get it. But these gadgets? They're not about turning your home into a clinic. They're about turning it into a haven, one where you can feel safe and still independent. Speaking of independence, let's wander into the living room or maybe your cozy reading nook. There's a little hero of a gadget that's quietly saving backs, knees, and necks every single day. Ever try to plug in your phone charger behind a couch or bend down to turn off a power strip on the floor? It feels like a gymnastics routine, doesn't it? This is where the remote control outlet switch comes in. It's one of those things that, once you start using it, you wonder how you ever lived without it. Here's how it works. You plug the little device into your wall outlet, then plug in whatever you like, your lamp, your fan, even your electric blanket. And instead of bending or stretching to switch things on or off, you just press a button on a small remote control. Simple, elegant, easy. Now, this may not sound revolutionary, but let me tell you, I've seen the way it transforms someone's comfort level. One gentleman I spoke with, Harold, 77, said he used to dread getting out of bed on chilly mornings. I hated stepping onto a cold floor just to turn on the heat, he said. So I introduced him to this gadget. Now he just reaches over, taps the button from under the covers, and the room warms up before his feet even touch the ground. That's the kind of luxury we all deserve, don't you think? Not diamonds or cruises or fancy cars, but warmth, convenience, and kindness toward our own bodies. That's real comfort. And it's often these little acts of self-care that ripple into something bigger. When we feel physically supported, we're more likely to take a walk, invite someone over for tea, read that extra chapter, or even dance a little in the kitchen. I truly believe that comfort creates momentum, and momentum keeps us feeling alive. Now, let me ask you something, and I'd genuinely love to hear your answer. Is there a gadget or little trick you've discovered over the years that's made your daily life easier? Something maybe others haven't heard of? So, leave a comment below and tell us about it. Not just for me, but for everyone else watching who could use a great idea from a wise soul like you. Honestly, I think some of the best advice doesn't come from books or TV shows or even me. It comes from people like you, living life with grace and a good dose of humor. So don't be shy. Your voice matters here. What I love about these gadgets is that they're not flashy. They're not selling youth or promising to turn back time. Instead, they quietly support the life you're living right now. They whisper, "You're doing great. Let me make that just a little easier." And it's not just about gadgets, it's about a mindset. The mindset that says, "I'm not going to let a stiff knee, a dim light, or a tight jar steal my joy." That's the spirit that keeps us going. The spirit that says, "I may move a little slower, but I still move with purpose." You know, I remember something my grandmother used to say. She lived to 94 and was sharp as a tack. She'd sit in her recliner with a mug of tea and say, "I don't want the world to stop for me. I just want a world that makes it easier for me to keep up." That always stayed with me. Because we don't need the world to slow down, we just need the right tools to move at our own pace. And that's what today is really about. Finding ways to walk your own path with just a little more ease, a little more grace, and a lot more comfort. We've still got more beautiful ideas to explore together, more clever ways to lighten your load and brighten your day. But for now, take a moment to think about what you might add to your own home. A shower seat? A remote-controlled outlet? Maybe you'll pick one up for yourself, or for someone you love. This journey isn't about fixing what's broken. It's about nurturing what's still working beautifully, and giving it just the right support to thrive. One of the most comforting things in life is realizing we're not alone in the little struggles. That we all, no matter how strong, smart, or seasoned, have moments where we could use a little help. And there's no shame in that. In fact, I think there's real wisdom in recognizing it, because that's where smart solutions live. Not in stubbornness, but in that sweet spot between independence and support. So far, we've talked about light that guides you, seats that support you, and gadgets that make your hands and joints say, "Thank you." It's these small things quietly tucked into daily routines that allow us to move through the world a little more freely. Now let's talk about something many of us wouldn't think twice about, until it becomes a daily frustration: reaching and gripping. You ever try to grab something that's fallen behind the couch or pick up a sock from the floor and think, well, that's going to stay there until someone younger visits? It happens more than we admit. But here's the truth. Our bodies weren't meant to bend, twist, and stretch forever the way they once did. And rather than ignoring that fact or pushing through the discomfort, what if we had a way to keep doing these tasks, comfortably and safely? Enter one of the unsung heroes in many seniors' homes. The Reacher Grabber tool. It's a simple gadget with a long handle and a claw-like grip at the end. You squeeze a trigger and the claw closes, perfect for picking up light objects without bending down or climbing on a stool. Some even have magnetic tips for grabbing metal objects like keys or safety pins. I gave one to my neighbor Shirley, who's 81 and still loves to garden. But bending down to pick up tools or weeds was getting harder. She told me after just a week of using it, she felt like she had her freedom stick. That's what she calls it, her freedom stick. Isn't that beautiful? Because that's exactly what it is. It doesn't just help her pick things up. It helps her stay active in a way that respects her body's limits. And there's something incredibly dignifying about that. Tools like these don't infantilize us. They empower us. They say, you still get to do what you love, just smarter. That shift in mindset is everything. But it's not just about reaching down, it's also about standing up. Literally. Getting up from a low chair, a soft couch, or even the edge of the bed can become one of those sneaky challenges that catches you off guard. 1 minute you're seated comfortably, and the next you're struggling to push yourself upright, feeling like your arms and knees are waging war against gravity. That's why I absolutely love another clever helper, the couch or bed assist rail. Now I know at first glance you might think, oh, that's for someone much older than me. But let me tell you something. These rails are one of the most graceful ways to keep your independence intact, especially during those transitional movements that cause the most falls. They slide right under your couch or mattress and give you a sturdy handle to grip as you stand or sit. No wall scraping, no straining your back. Just a clean, easy movement. You're not asking anyone for help. You're not dreading that deep, soft seat anymore. You're just rising at your own pace with confidence. One gentleman, Mr. Leon, he's a retired firefighter in his late 70s, told me that after installing one by his recliner, he stopped hesitating before getting up to answer the door or grab a glass of water. I didn't realize how many decisions I was avoiding just to stay seated, he said. Now I just get up. No second guessing. That struck me, because it reminded me how often we don't notice the toll these little struggles take until they're lifted. These gadgets don't just remove obstacles, they give back energy. They remove hesitation and replace it with motion. And that motion, however small, adds up over time. It adds up to freedom. And speaking of energy, can we pause here for a second and talk about something else? If you found any of this helpful so far, I'd love for you to consider subscribing to the channel. Not because it's a thing to do, but because it keeps us connected. And frankly, we need more spaces like this, where age is seen as a gift, not a burden. Where we share ideas, support one another, and keep learning together. So if you'd like to keep this little circle of wisdom going, go ahead and tap that subscribe button and turn on the bell. That way you'll be the first to know when a new video like this one comes out. I'd be honored to have you here with us. Now let's go back to our flow. These gadgets may be designed to assist, but I believe they do something even more meaningful. They affirm. They affirm that your life still holds beautiful routines, active moments, and most importantly, choice. You get to choose what works for you. You get to choose how you live, how you move, and how you care for yourself. And these little tools? They're just part of your toolkit. Like a painter needs brushes or a baker needs good pans, you deserve the right tools to live life fully, safely, and joyfully. I think sometimes the biggest shift we can make is realizing that aging isn't about losing control. It's about redefining it. You don't have to power through every task the hard way just to prove something. You've already proven more in this lifetime than most people ever will. You've raised children. You've worked jobs. You've stood through storms and danced through celebrations. You've made meals, mended hearts, fixed broken things. Sometimes even when it was your own heart or your own spirit that needed tending. You've earned the right to have life meet you with kindness, with ease, with support. And whether it's a reacher tool that saves your back, or a simple rail that steadies your rise from a chair, these things are not signs of slowing down. They're signs of growing wiser, of embracing life not just as it is, but as it can be when we welcome a little help. So, what's something you'd love to make easier in your own life? Not out of laziness, but out of love, for your body, your time, and your peace of mind. Just sit with that question. You might be surprised by what comes up, because sometimes ease is just one decision away. Isn't it interesting how once you start looking at life through the lens of ease, you begin to see opportunities for it everywhere? Suddenly, that drawer that sticks a little too much or that heavy kettle you've been lifting for years, well, they start to look less like part of the daily grind and more like little invitations. Invitations to make things simpler, lighter, kinder on your body. Because the truth is, making life easier isn't about giving in, it's about leaning in. Leaning into the season you're in and asking, what can I do to support myself better today? Not yesterday. Not 10 years ago. But today. And today, let's step into the kitchen for a moment. The kitchen is a beautiful place, isn't it? So many of life's stories are written there. Recipes passed down from mothers and grandmothers. Mornings spent stirring coffee while the radio hums. That comforting smell of toast or stew or cinnamon. But kitchens can also be one of the sneakiest sources of strain, especially when your hands, wrists, or shoulders start sending you quiet little messages that they're not as limber as they once were. That's where a clever little gadget comes in, a true lifesaver for folks who love cooking but find the tools are getting harder to manage. Let me tell you about the electric can opener. Now I know what you might be thinking. I've opened cans by hand for 60 years. And yes, you probably have. But have you also noticed how some of those lids seem to have gotten tougher? How twisting and squeezing starts to feel more like a wrestling match than a quick prep step? You're not alone. It's not about strength, it's about wear. The wear in our joints, the reduced grip strength that sneaks up on you. Arthritis, even in mild forms, can make something as simple as opening it can feel like a chore. That's where an electric can opener steps in, not with bells and whistles, but with quiet grace. You set the can in, press a button, and let it do the work. No squeezing, twisting, or digging the lid out with a knife. Just a clean cut and a smooth edge that won't nick your fingers. I remember my cousin Ruth telling me that switching to an electric opener actually brought back her love of soup nights. I used to dread the sound of the manual crank, she said. It meant pain was coming. Now I just smile, press the button, and focus on the flavors again. And I want that for you too. Because ease in the kitchen doesn't mean less love, it means more. More energy for the parts you do enjoy, choosing fresh ingredients, tasting your creations, and maybe even sharing a dish with someone you care about. Speaking of energy, I'd love to take a moment to remind you of something I hope you know deep down. It's never, ever too late to adjust, to change, to grow. Whether you're 60, 70, 80, or beyond, you still get to make choices that support your happiness. Sometimes we hold on to old routines simply because they're familiar. But familiarity doesn't always mean better. It just means habit. And habit can be a lovely thing, unless it's costing you peace or causing you pain. So if you find yourself holding off on using that helpful tool, or avoiding a task because it's become too uncomfortable, ask yourself this: what if it could be easier? Now, I want to share one more little gem with you. It's not as well known as some of the others we've talked about, but it's quietly becoming a favorite for many older adults. It's called a talking pill organizer, and it's so much more than a plastic box with compartments. Here's how it works. You pre-sort your medications into sections, usually by day or time of day, and then, here's the clever part, it speaks. Literally. You can record messages that play at scheduled times. So instead of just seeing the reminder, you hear it: good morning, time to take your blood pressure pill. Or don't forget your evening dose. Some even include flashing lights or gentle alarms that are perfect for those of us who might not always catch the visual cues or who sometimes lose track of the time during a cozy afternoon nap. Now, you might be wondering, do I really need that? And maybe you don't. But if you've ever missed a dose or had to double back and think, did I already take it? Then it could be a game changer. There's a freedom that comes from not having to keep every little thing in your head all the time. You've carried so many responsibilities over the years. Family, finances, health, Well, worry. It's okay to let technology carry a few of those little burdens now. Because it's not about being forgetful. It's about being smart enough to create systems that support your wellness. You deserve that kind of support. The kind that honors how far you've come and says, let's make the rest of the journey a little smoother. And I want to pause here for just a second, because sometimes people hear all this talk about gadgets and think, it's too late for me. I've already lived my life this way, I'm set in my ways. Let me lovingly say this, it's never too late. Not for a new idea. Not for a better way. Not for joy. Change doesn't have to be big and dramatic. It can be as simple as switching from a manual can opener to an electric one. Or finally giving yourself permission to use a reacher grabber tool without guilt or pride getting in the way. That's what aging well is all about. Not resisting the change, but choosing it with purpose. You're still the author of your story. Still in charge of the little details that shape your comfort and happiness. And every small change you make for the better, that's you continuing to invest in yourself. I often think about my Uncle George. He was a stubborn, hilarious man, used to build everything with his bare hands from birdhouses to entire sheds. In his late 70s, after a minor fall, we gently suggested a few changes around his house. Grab bars, better lighting, a stool in the shower. He grumbled at first, but a few weeks later he pulled me aside and said, "You know what, kid? That shower seat, best thing since sliced bread." I laughed, not because of the gadget but because of him. The way he let himself adapt. The way he realized that making life easier didn't take away his grit. It gave it more time to shine. And that's my hope for you. That you'll see these gadgets not as signs of slowing down, but as tools that allow you to keep going, and going strong. That you'll give yourself the grace to rest where needed, the curiosity to try something new, and the joy of discovering how ease can sneak into the most unexpected places. As we come to the end of this conversation, I want to take a moment, not to summarize, not to list, but just to sit with you in this beautiful space we've built together. A space where age isn't something to hide or fix, but something to honor. Where daily life isn't something to endure, but something we get to shape, little by little, with the right support. By now, we've explored some clever, thoughtful tools that can truly make everyday life a little easier. But more importantly, we've explored something much deeper. The idea that embracing help is not a weakness. It's a strength. It's a choice rooted in self-respect, wisdom, and love. You see, there's a quiet power in making life simpler, not out of laziness but out of clarity. Out of knowing that you've spent your life pouring your energy into others, into work, into worry, into care, and now you get to pour a little of that care back into yourself. These gadgets we've talked about, they're more than tools. They're companions. They're little reminders that you still have so much life to live. That comfort and independence don't have to cancel each other out. That joy and safety can hold hands. I think of people like Elaine, who used to skip baking because twisting open jars hurt too much, until she got a jar opener and started making her famous banana bread again. Or Mr. Harold, who lives alone but installed a simple voice-activated assistant to help him turn off lights, play jazz, and remind him of appointments. He said it made him feel less alone, like his home was finally working with him instead of against him. And isn't that the goal? To create a home, a life, a daily rhythm that supports you, that lifts you up, that respects what your body needs now, while still honoring everything your spirit desires. Because you haven't stopped being curious. You haven't stopped wanting to move, to cook, to read, to laugh, to stay connected to the people and the moments that matter most. You're still here, still choosing, still growing. And you deserve every possible bit of ease that helps you keep doing what you love, with grace and confidence. I want you to imagine something with me for a moment. Picture yourself waking up tomorrow morning, not with dread for what might be hard, but with a gentle feeling of readiness. You sit up from bed using that sturdy assist rail. You walk to the kitchen and prepare your breakfast without straining to open containers or bend for ingredients. You move through the day with the quiet support of tools that are so intuitive, you hardly even notice them, but your body does. your spirit does. You go about your day not worried about dropping something, not exhausted by the little things. You feel clear, centered, capable. That's not just a dream. That's entirely possible. It starts with just one small change. One gadget. One shift in mindset that says, I am worth making things easier for. And if no one's told you that lately, let me be the one to say it now. You're worth it. Your comfort is worth it. Your safety is worth it. Your joy, your peace of mind, your energy, they're all worth investing in. Whether that's a $20 tool from the store or simply giving yourself permission to do things differently. Aging doesn't mean giving up the life you love. It means adapting so you can keep loving it fully. It means choosing what serves you best, right here, right now. And I want to say something else from my heart to yours. If there's ever been a voice in your head telling you that accepting help is a kind of failure, I hope this video has helped quiet that voice. Because the truth is, accepting help, or even better, seeking it out, is one of the most courageous, life-affirming things you can do. You've done the hard parts. You've lived through decades of change, challenge, and triumph. Now it's your time to be supported, uplifted, and surrounded by ease. So whether it's a grabber tool to help with laundry, or a simple light that guides your steps at night, each little gadget is a thread in the larger fabric of your independence. And when you weave them together, what you get isn't a sign of weakness. It's a beautiful quilt of self-respect, self-care, and strength. And if you've made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you for spending this time with me, for investing this moment in your own well-being, and for being part of a community that honors aging not as something to survive, but something to celebrate. If you found this video helpful or inspiring in any way, I'd love for you to gently share that energy forward. Maybe you could send it to a friend who's been feeling a little overwhelmed, or a neighbor who could use some fresh ideas. Maybe your son or daughter would enjoy seeing the kinds of thoughtful tools that could help make your day-to-day life easier. Sometimes a simple share opens the door to meaningful conversations. And if this message resonated with you, if it made you smile or think or breathe a little easier, I'd also love if you'd leave a comment below. I read every one of them. Hearing your stories, your insights, your experiences, it's what keeps this space alive. We're in this together. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you haven't already. It's the simplest way to stay connected, to be part of this growing circle of wisdom, and to keep exploring the everyday tools that can make life not just easier, but better. This channel isn't just about gadgets. It's about dignity. It's about finding joy in the details. It's about you. So wherever you are, however you're feeling today, I want to leave you with this. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are right on time for this chapter. Right on time to care for yourself with love and intention. Right on time to discover something new. Right on time to make life a little bit easier, one clever tool at a time. Here's to living your best life at any age. You've earned it. Until next time, take care of yourself. And remember, ease is not a luxury. It's your new standard.
Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. It truly means a lot. If you found this video helpful or inspiring, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with a friend or loved one who might benefit. And leave a comment below. We love hearing your thoughts and experiences. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest tips and uplifting advice for living your best life at any age. Now, if you're ready for more wisdom and encouragement, just click the video that's on your screen right now. It's packed with even more insights made just for you. Take care, stay positive, and we'll see you in the next one.